Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel for the vehicle. So this is going to be an in-depth look, teaching you everything you need to know about all these different buttons, that cluster screen as well. So first thing to point out, we are going to be a telescopic steering wheel inside of the vehicle. Because of the packages this one has, we are power telescoping, and it's also tied into our memory. So we can adjust what's going on there, press and hold either 1, 2, or 3 for it to remember our steering wheel, our side view mirrors, as well as our driver's seat, which is amazing. All right, so a few other things to point out. We do have a voice command prompt in the very top of the steering wheel there, so we can push that. In order to be able to change songs, radio stations, we can navigate using our voice. Stick on the left-hand side, there's a button on the very tip of that stick. You can just kind of make it out there. That's going to turn our lane keeping system on or off, so you can see it disappear and reappear there as necessary. Now, the system itself is turned on, but it doesn't actually activate until we hit 64 kilometers an hour. Those are going to go green when it recognizes the lane markings, but it's a very smart system. It's going to either gently nudge us back into our lane, give us a steering wheel shake, depending on how we have it set up, but it is a great safety setting. We can easily flash our high beams out as well. Stick on the right-hand side is going to let us adjust our wipers, and we've got our front and our rear wiper. So there's a stick, on the very tip of that stick. Oh, hold on, I'll bring you over this way. Okay, so very tip of this stick, so as you can see there, we also can adjust our rear wiper there as well. So very straightforward to go one way or the other as necessary. All right, so let's dive through the steering wheel a little bit because there's so much going on. First thing, you might just be able to make it out, but we do have our paddle shifters, so our minus on the left, plus on the right-hand side, so we can easily adjust what gear we're in as necessary. And this one, so we can see along the left-hand side, so we can change between songs or radio stations this way. We can also do a press in order to be able to change presets, or we can also do a press and hold in order to be able to seek this way as well. So we have quite a little bit of flexibility there, which is amazing. We can increase or decrease the volume by pressing up and down there as well. And we also have this button, which, watch this. Okay, so see that? Little hideaway buttons down there? This is so cool. All right, hold on, let me lower you down a tiny little bit. All right, and watch this again. So we push that button on the steering wheel, and it's gonna hide or show the buttons as necessary for the adaptive cruise control system. So the adaptive cruise is our set it and forget it cruise. So once we have this turned on, once we're up to our set speed, we hit set, so either one or on the very bottom there. On the very top, these actually aren't the buttons. You have to go in behind the steering wheel there in order to be able to push them. So we can increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. If we ever have to press the brake, we can hit resume along the left-hand side. Along the right side, we've also got our cancel button. We've got our lane centering button, so we can see the steering wheel appear and reappear as necessary there. One of the great things, so that's actually our lane keeping system on steroids, because lane keeping system gently nudges us back into our lane. Our lane centering system, I can't technically say self-driving because we have to have our hands on the steering wheel, but it's going to keep us nice and balanced in our lane as we go, which is amazing. We've also got our distance indicator, so we can see lanes disappearing there. So that's how close or how far are we away from the vehicle that's in front of us. So quite a few different options that are available there. I want you to think of that as like the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi rule. So how close or how far do you want to be away from the vehicle that's in front of you? But a great amount of features there just on that part of the steering wheel. And then we press that button, and that's going to get rid of all of those other buttons. So if we accidentally press, we don't have to worry about anything accidentally turning on. Along this side, we've got our pages button, which is going to let us jump between active pages on that middle screen. And we can also adjust as necessary here. So I'll show you. So we go to our music along the side. We can change between AM, FM, Sirius XM, and I've also got my phone connected there. And moving the opposite way, so we move to the top, we've got my home, previous destinations, favorites. We can go point of interest icons. So all I'm doing is moving up and down this way using this little selector switch. You can go back, but you can see that buttons kind of appear and disappear as necessary there as well. So we've got our basic OK button to go to a subscreen, so we push to the right, or we go left in order to go backward. So it's pretty straightforward. And we move across to our cell phone now, and we've got all of our calls, incoming calls, outgoing, and missed calls. So we can make phone calls as necessary there if we want to. And then we move down in order to get into some more options. So we've got our display set up, so we've got different information screens. Do we want to show fuel economy, trip counters, what seatbelts are active, our power distribution, and things like that? So we're going to display, actually, you know what? I'm going to choose a few more. We're going to go seatbelts is, oh, I think I reached the maximum. Okay, I'll show you what these things look like in just a second. But we go back, and we've got our speedometer. So do we want to have it in miles per hour, kilometers per hour? We've got our tachometer, so do we want to add that to the view as well? So if we go home, we've got our speedometer and our tachometer there now. If we go back to settings again, we go into our display, we get rid of the tachometer and go back home. As you can see there, we've just got our speedometer in the very middle. So we can easily adjust this thing out as necessary. It's kind of neat we've got that option. We've got our Eco Coach that's available there. Our border crossing, so as we come up to an upcoming border crossing, do we run a reminder, yes or no? And then we've got our oil life, so we can also do a reset simply by pressing OK on the steering wheel. You can see that counter going down, and then back to the home screen again. So as you saw there, we did adjust a few different screens, so we added some things in. So as you can see there, we've got our different trip counters, etc. So if we ever need to reset, so we're on our main screen there, so we need to reset our trip counter, all we're going to do is press and hold the Pages button there. You see that countdown timer going, and it's reset us very simply. We press the Pages button there again, and that's going to jump us to our next one, which is fuel economy. So same idea, we can reset that by pressing and holding. We push again, and that is going to be our tire pressure. And then we've also got our power distribution, which is another screen that we added in. So we've got a little bit of flexibility as to what screens are showing up and how it's done, but it's so straightforward to use this thing all at the same time. Now, one thing, we don't have the flexibility to really customize the color or any other options there. So the colors are what the colors are. It would be nice, like as we move through different drive modes, that it would kind of adjust on the fly there. Lincoln, if you're listening, I think that would be amazing to be able to kind of dynamically update that based off of the drive mode that we're in. But as of right now, we've got just this base screen, which at the same time does look fairly nice. But that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel and the cluster screen inside of the 2022 Lincoln Corsair.